Speed now on this morning's coronavirus headlines. As of yesterday's count, we have more than 7,100 cases in Houston and Harris County combined. Across the state, more than 33,000 Texans have tested positive. And the governor admits he's bracing for a possible surge in new cases after opening up more businesses. But he also says he's confident that hospitals in Texas can handle it. And that's because hospitals have thousands of ICU beds available. As for the reopening of Texas, well, it's the good news many businesses and customers have been waiting for. Salons and barbershops can get back to business on Friday. Our Janelle Fort breaks down what you need to know about Phase 2.
Yes, Steph, Governor Greg Abbott's announcement comes as good news for a number of Texans who are looking a little rough these days. It's been nearly 2 months since salons have been able to open their doors, but this Friday, that changes. Cosmetology salons, barbershops, hair salons, nail shops, and tanning salons will be able to open back up. There are stipulations. Salons, like other businesses reopening, will have a max of 25% capacity. Salon chairs must be 6 feet apart and 1 customer per stylist at a time, and masks are recommended. Weddings and funerals can also resume, but they must follow the same guidelines already in place for churches, like every other row being empty and social distancing between households. As for high school graduations, after June 1st, outdoor ceremonies will be allowed in all counties with social distancing, but indoor ceremonies are still banned. On Monday, May 18th, the next wave starts. Gym buffs, you'll be able to go back to the gym. Stipulations for those businesses include all gear must be disinfected after each use, gloves are required, and locker rooms are still off limits. As far as bars go, there's still no timeline on when they'll be back open for business. Back to you.
Janelle, thanks for that important information. Well, this is good news. There will be a show in Houston skies today. The Blue Angels will fly over Texas. It's all to salute frontline workers, including doctors and nurses. The jets will fly over hospitals across the Houston area as part of the America's Strong Salute. Take a look at this flight plan you see on your screen there. They're going to start their flight around 12:30 in the Woodlands, then fly to Humboldt, down to the Med Center, to Sugar Land and West Houston, and then they'll finish up in Galveston around 1 p.m. You can take a closer look at that map on KTRU.com. Also, make sure to look out for one of our own. Major Frank Zastapil is one of the pilots flying Left Wing. He's a Kingwood High School and Texas A&M alum.
Making us proud. All right, so Texas is not alone. At least 42 other states are loosening their stay-at-home orders. Here are today's other big stories. Indiana is set to reopen churches, and California's order will be partially lifted this week.
We've been able to flatten the curve in a meaningful and significant way over the course of many, many weeks.
But the hardest hit states like New York are still mostly locked down. Starting today, Massachusetts residents must cover their faces in public. Overseas, Italy, France, and Spain are easing restrictions, but the UK now has the most deaths in Europe, with more than 32,000.
The lockdown in the UK has been relatively light compared to other European nations. Face masks and gloves are not mandatory, and restrictions for going outside are more recommendations than strictly enforced.
What will the future of air travel look like? The airlines all coping with COVID-19 and trying to stay afloat. United Airlines plans to cut 30% of its management staff, and Southwest, which has never furloughed employees, now says 80% of its seats are empty.
A 62-year-old man recovered from coronavirus after 20 days on a ventilator. Medical staff cheered as Phil Eaton left Tier Memorial Hermann in the Woodlands. Eaton spent a total of 51 days in the hospital. He's the principal of Lake Creek High School in Montgomery County, and he thanked the doctors, nurses, and rehab specialists for helping him beat the odds.
And those are the big stories on this Wednesday morning.
For the past few weeks, we've seen protests across the country as people beg governors to let businesses reopen. Many are also fighting orders requiring face coverings in public. And as it turns out, those protests are a case of history repeating itself. Janelle Bluda connects the dots.
Small but vocal protests against stay-at-home orders have popped up across the country, but this is not the first time Americans have taken to the streets to complain about rules during a pandemic. Let's connect the dots. The Spanish flu hit the U.S. in 1918, and just like today, strict measures were put in place in some cities to flatten the curve. In San Francisco, residents were ordered to wear face masks. Anyone violating the law was fined $5, with the money going straight to the Red Cross. And the restrictions appeared to have worked. By November, cases slowed down and the public returned to normal life. But within 2 weeks, the deadly flu came back and the second wave was worse than the first. By January 1919, as the deaths mounted, San Francisco brought back the mask order, and that's when the protests started. The demonstrators called themselves the Anti-Mask League. They claimed the measure requiring masks violated their constitutional rights, and that the masks didn't work anyways. The group included doctors and at least one elected city official. The protests continued until the flu pandemic started to taper off and the need for masks ended. Connecting the dots, I'm Janelle Bluda for H-Town Rush.
For the latest coronavirus updates, you can text the word FACTS to 713-526-1111, and we'll have that number on the screen for you throughout the morning.
Today is National Nurses Day, which kicks off National Nurses Week, which wraps up on Florence Nightingale's birthday, International Nurses Day. So this is a week where we get to champion those men and women who are on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic and thank them for all that they do. We want to know, is there a nurse who's had an impact on you? Maybe someone close to you, maybe someone who's helped you along the way. Text us your message to them, 713-526-1111. We're going to try to share those throughout the rest of the week. I want to shout out Christina, who's a surgical nurse at Methodist Hospital downtown. Then we have Courtney, who works at Memorial Hermann Memorial City. She's a surgical tech there. You can see Tiffany outfitted in the PPE that is so common these days. Elizabeth is a nurse at CHI St. Joseph in Bryan College Station. We thank her and Lauren, a mom of 3, who's logging her hours at UTMB in Galveston, and the nurses at Eastview Healthcare in Channelview. Thank you guys for all that you do every single day. Now, there have been a lot of deals and kind of special offers during the COVID-19 pandemic for healthcare workers. Here's some more for nurses. All you have to do in most cases is show your ID, but you can get like a free burrito at Chipotle, coffee and a donut at Dunkin', a discount at Outback. Some retailers are also offering discounts: Adidas, Crocs, Nike, The North Face. And then you can get 50 cents off a gallon at BP. H&R Block's offering a deal, Talkspace as well. We have those all listed on khou.com. But remember, shout out the nurses who have made an impact on you. It's as easy as texting that number, Erica.
Oh, I bet there are so many. Yeah, shout out to all the nurses out there. Thank you for all your hard work. Hey, let's talk about the one thing you need to know. Clearing skies this morning. There's still some rain, but by this afternoon, we'll have plenty of sunshine, and highs are going to be 10 degrees cooler. On top of that, lower humidity in place, which, Seth, I'm so looking forward to the lower humidity.
I think everybody is. Erica, thanks. 5:10, your time now. Support continues to pour in for educators during Teacher Appreciation Week. We'll share tributes from across the city. Fast food customers want to know, where's the beef? Why Wendy's had to pull hamburgers from some of its menus.